"Daddy, why is the princess crying?" The question hung in the air. What happened next completely shifted a single father's world. Before the story unfolds, drop a comment with your location. It is always amazing to see how far these moments reach across the globe. It was a crisp Saturday morning in mid-September. Ryan Mitchell claimed his standard booth at the Corner Cup Café in downtown Austin, watching his 8-year-old Emma furiously work her way through yet another princess-themed art book, her third this month alone. This was their sacred ritual. Every Saturday, right at 10 in the morning, they settled in for cocoa and pastries. It was 2 hours of peace before the chaotic reality of single parenthood. The laundry, the grocery runs, came crashing back in. Ryan feigned interest in his work inbox, but his attention was elsewhere. He was actually studying Emma as she shaded Belle's gown a bright yellow, struck by how much she resembled her mother with each passing day. It had been 4 years since he lost Amy, yet the grief still had a way of ambushing him, hitting his chest with the force of a physical blow. The shop bell jingled, announcing a new arrival. Emma's head snapped up so violently that Ryan winced, fearing she had hurt her neck. Gripping his forearm tight, she whispered with a reverence typically saved for queens and monarchs. "Daddy, look, a real-life princess just walked in." Expecting a cosplayer, Ryan glanced over. Instead, he saw a woman in a stunning floral dress, dark hair swept back, her heels clicking rhythmically against the tiles. She radiated elegance and professionalism, and sure, she was beautiful, but hardly royalty. "That is just a nice lady, sweetie," he corrected gently. "Not a princess." Emma shook her head, her conviction absolute. "No, Daddy. She looks exactly like Belle. Same hair, same everything. I know a princess when I see one." After ordering at the counter, the woman took a seat at a secluded table across the room, with Ryan watching from a distance. That was when he saw it. The princess was weeping. It wasn't a scene-causing sob, but that silent, trembling struggle to keep composure in public, and failing miserably. She kept dabbing at her eyes, glancing at her phone, and then breaking down all over again. Emma caught it too. Nothing escaped that kid. Tugging his sleeve, she adopted her serious tone. "Daddy, why does the princess look so sad? In the movies, they always smile and have happy endings." Ryan sighed softly. "Even people having bad days need to cry, honey. It is okay to be sad." Fixing him with those wide eyes, her mother's eyes, she countered, "But you always say when someone is sad, we have to help them. That is what Mommy would want, remember?" Ryan remembered all too well. He had preached that philosophy since Emma was 4, trying to explain why Mommy wasn't coming back from the hospital. Now, his own teachings were boxing him in. His 8-year-old was absolutely right. Before he could formulate a response, the woman fumbled her phone. It clattered against the floor, skidding all the way under Ryan's booth. Retrieving it, he inadvertently glanced at the screen. It displayed a wedding photo, her in white, standing beside a groom, captioned Derek and Claire, with a date from just 3 months prior. He walked over to her corner. "I think you dropped this," he said gently, extending the device. She looked up, eyes swimming with tears and mascara running down her cheeks. "Oh my God, thank you. I am so sorry. I am a total wreck." "You probably think I am losing my mind, crying in a coffee shop." Before Ryan could answer, Emma materialized beside him. She had decided this intervention was happening, with or without him. With zero filter, she blurted out, "Are you okay, princess? You look really sad. Did something bad happen to you?" The woman blinked in surprise, then let out a wet, genuine chuckle. "Princess? That is very sweet. I am Claire, and yeah, something bad happened a little while ago. I am just having a rough morning." Emma doubled down with that brutal childhood honesty. "You look like Belle from Beauty and the Beast. That makes you a princess. But Belle is usually happy and you are crying. Did your prince turn into a beast or something?" Ryan wanted the floor to swallow him whole, but Claire burst into genuine laughter. "You know what? That is actually spot on. My prince turned out to be not much of a prince at all." Ryan stepped in. "I am Ryan, and this is Emma. I am so sorry." "She has no filter. We did not mean to crash your Saturday morning breakdown." Claire shook her head, wiping her face. "No, do not apologize. Adults spend so much energy ignoring people who are falling apart. It is actually nice to have someone just ask." She looked from Emma to Ryan. "Do you guys want to sit? Honestly, I could really use the company right now." Before Ryan could even voice a protest, Emma had already scrambled up into the seat opposite Claire. 90 minutes drifted by, far exceeding the quick coffee run Ryan had anticipated. Claire shared a softened, child-friendly rendition of her recent heartache, She explained that she was meant to walk down the aisle 3 months back, but the groom got cold feet at the 11th hour. Emma bristled with righteous indignation. "He ditched you right at the wedding? That is so cruel. You're beautiful and sweet. He has to be totally brainless." Claire let out a genuine chuckle. "Bless you, sweetheart. I actually relocated here from Dallas a few weeks back to hit the reset button. Earlier today, I fell down a rabbit hole of old pictures and started wallowing in self-pity. Figured I might as well be miserable around people instead of isolating in my flat." Ryan chimed in. "Well, you picked the right town for a new chapter. I'm a lifer here." When she asked about his line of work, he replied, "I supervise sites for Oak Ridge Construction. Mainly commercial builds." At that, Claire's expression shifted instantly. "Hold on, Ryan Mitchell, as in Oak Ridge Ryan Mitchell?" He blinked. "That's me. How on earth did you guess?" She stifled a laugh behind her palm. "I'm the incoming occupational health nurse. My first shift is this Monday. My job involves safety audits and treating on-site mishaps. We are quite literally going to be colleagues." A stunned silence fell over the table until Emma broke it. "This is just like that movie scene where the prince runs into the princess in the village, totally unaware they're destined to meet at the ball." Truth be told, the kid had a point. Ryan shook his head, smiling. "Wild coincidence. Looks like I'll see you on the job site then." She nodded. "Suppose you will. The situation is destined to be either incredibly handy or painfully uncomfortable." Ryan grinned. "I'm voting for handy. Listen, if you need a hand getting your bearings in Austin, best taco spots, navigation, whatever, I can shoot you my info. You know, purely for professional reasons." A radiance returned to her face, the first genuine warmth he'd witnessed since they sat down. "I would appreciate that immensely," she admitted. "It's been pretty isolating being the new girl in town." Then Emma, taking charge as the self-appointed social coordinator, piped up, "You have to join us at the park tomorrow. It's our Sunday ritual. We always bring treats for the ducks. You can meet our crew, and Daddy knows exactly where the best swings are." Ryan gently interjected, "Em, let's not twist her arm, okay?" But Claire was already bobbing her head. "Honestly? That sounds lovely, assuming you don't mind a stowaway." Ryan beamed. "Not at all. Just bring your caffeine fix. We'll handle the provisions. Emma has strict standards regarding duck-approved bakery items." They swapped contact details, and Claire departed roughly 20 minutes later. The moment the door clicked shut behind her, Emma spun around, a massive grin splitting her face. "Daddy, you have a crush on the princess." "I saw that look. It's the exact same face the prince makes in my cartoons." Ryan felt a flush creep up his neck. "She is a kind lady, and we are just being welcoming because she's new here. Plus, she's a colleague." End of story. Emma shot him a skeptical glance far too wise for an 8-year-old. "You're going to marry her. Watch." "I can feel it." Ryan chuckled nervously. "Pump the brakes, kiddo. We literally met the woman an hour ago." Yet her luminous smile lingered in his mind, along with the way she had confided in total strangers just because a little girl cared enough to ask. The weekend evaporated, and before he knew it, Ryan was clocking in at the job site at 7 o'clock sharp. 30 minutes later, a sedan rolled in. Claire emerged, trading the sundress for medical scrubs, steel-toed boots, and a practical ponytail. The transformation from the weeping woman in the café was total, yet she remained strikingly lovely. She strode over to the table where Ryan was studying schematics. "Protocol question. Is it Ryan or Mr. Mitchell when the crew is listening?" "Ryan works. We don't stand on ceremony here. Welcome aboard Oak Ridge." Their handshake was firm, though the contact lingered a fraction of a second longer than strictly necessary. Ryan's foreman, Tom, breezed past, stopped dead, and glanced between them. "Who's the medical recruit and what's with the eye contact?" "Meet Claire, our safety officer, and we aren't looking like anything." Tom just smirked and sauntered off, whistling a tune. Throughout the shift, their paths seemed magnetically aligned. If she was auditing a zone, he suddenly needed to review it. If she was organizing her clinic, he found himself fetching gear from the adjacent supply locker. Each encounter ended the same way. Locked eyes, shy grins, and averting their gazes like high schoolers. By punch-out time, Tom cornered him. "Are you going to make a move, or are we watching this painful courtship ritual indefinitely?" Ryan sighed. "She is fresh out of a major breakup, man. Her world imploded at the altar 3 months ago. I'm not about to be the guy who complicates her fresh start by making things awkward." Tom countered. "Consider the alternative. She's stranded in a strange city with absolutely no support system. Just chew on that for a second." Tom drifted off, leaving Ryan rooted to the spot, his mind reeling with images of Claire's smile, Emma's insistence that she was royalty, and the terrifying realization that for the first time in 4 years, his heart was actually waking up. By Sunday morning, Ryan and Emma were stationed at Zilker Park, armed with a picnic blanket and a tote bag, full of treats, though Ryan was already bracing for rejection. Honestly, who actually keeps vague weekend plans with total strangers? Yet, at 11 o'clock sharp, Claire's car rolled into the lot. She hopped out, juggling 2 iced coffees, looking anxious but refreshed in denim and a tee. A softer, younger version of the heartbroken woman from the café or the brisk nurse he saw on duty. Emma practically vibrated when she saw her bolting across the grass while screaming, "The princess came! Daddy, look, she actually showed up!" Claire laughed, scooping the girl into a tight squeeze. "Of course I'm here. I made a promise, didn't I?" And royalty never breaks a vow. They lingered at the park for 3 hours, and Ryan realized he couldn't recall the last time he felt this light just simply existing. They tossed bird-safe snacks to the ducks. Emma had spent the night researching exactly what they could eat to ensure they stayed healthy. Later, they took turns pushing Emma on the swing set until she was gasping for air between fits of giggles. Between pushes, Claire opened up about her Dallas childhood, sharing stories of 2 older brothers who pranked her with backpack frogs and explaining how her grandmother inspired her nursing career. Ryan found himself talking about Amy, opening up about losing her 4 years ago, post-birth complications, and confessing that without Emma needing him every morning, he might not have survived the grief. Tears welled in Claire's eyes as she whispered, "She is absolutely incredible. You've raised her beautifully." Those Sunday park dates morphed into a ritual throughout September and October, though back at the job site, Ryan and Claire kept things strictly by the book. She ran her safety protocols, patched up scrapes, and kept the crew in fighting shape. Yet, the electricity between them was palpable enough to power the generators. Tom wouldn't let it go, constantly ribbing them with, "Would you two just go on a proper date? The sexual tension is exhausting the rest of us." Ryan always deflected, insisting, "We're just friends. She's healing from a massive heartbreak. I'm not pushing her." But privately, he knew he was already gone for her, and he suspected the feeling was mutual, catching the soft way she watched him when she thought he was distracted. When late October rolled around, the company hosted its annual family cookout, and at Emma's pleading, Ryan invited Claire. She arrived in a sundress that short-circuited Ryan's brain, rendering him mute for a good 30 seconds. Emma stuck to Claire like glue, parading her around the party as if she were a rare gem she'd personally excavated. Naturally, every spouse there assumed Claire was Ryan's significant other. Neither of them bothered to set the record straight. Playing the part for one afternoon just felt too right to ruin. Walking her to the parking lot later, Ryan rubbed the back of his neck. "Sorry about the mix-up. Everyone assuming we were a couple. Must have been uncomfortable." Claire paused, turning to him. "Actually, I didn't mind. It felt instinctive." Ryan inhaled sharply, deciding to leap. "How about dinner sometime? A legitimate dinner? Just the 2 of us? You mean, a date?" Claire's expression tightened with nervous hope. "Not just a platonic hang?" "A real date," Ryan confirmed. "But only if you're up for it. Zero pressure. If you prefer keeping things as they are, I'm good with that too." "I'd love to," Claire admitted softly. "But we have to take it slow. My last relationship did a number on my ability to trust my gut." "Slow works for me," Ryan smiled gently. "I have an 8-year-old and a late wife. I'm not exactly looking to sprint to the finish line either." They chose a hole-in-the-wall Italian joint that had been an Austin staple for decades. The conversation flowed effortlessly for 4 hours, bouncing from their love of B-movies to their 5-year life plans. When Ryan walked her back to her vehicle, he leaned in and kissed her goodnight. It was gentle, hesitant, and utterly flawless. The interrogation came the next morning when Emma asked, "So, is Claire your girlfriend officially? Is it okay if I say she is?" Ryan crouched down. "How would you feel if she was?" "I'd like it," Emma nodded vigorously. "She's nice, and she makes you laugh like you did in those old videos with Mommy. I think Mommy would have liked her a lot." Ryan had to look away to hide the sudden moisture in his eyes. His 8-year-old had just absolved his guilt, hitting him with a wave of emotion he wasn't ready for. Choking back a sob, he managed, "You're way too smart for your age, kiddo." Emma grinned. "I know. You tell me constantly. So, is she coming for Thanksgiving?" When the holiday arrived, having Claire there felt like the most natural thing in the world. She managed the kitchen prep while Emma gave her a guided tour of every art project she'd created that month. As they settled in to eat, Ryan scanned the table and recognized a feeling he hadn't experienced in 4 long years. Pure, unadulterated happiness. Life was smooth sailing until the second week of December, when Claire walked onto the job site looking like a wreck. She had dark circles under her eyes, seemed completely distracted during safety checks, and kept glancing at her phone with panic etched on her face. Ryan cornered her during the lunch break. "Hey, talk to me. You've been a ghost all day. What's going on?" Claire sighed, refusing to meet his eyes. "It's Derek, my ex-fiancé. He showed up at my door last night, drove all the way from Dallas. He wants to try again." Ryan felt the ground fall out from under him. "Okay. And what did you say?" Claire rubbed her temples. "I told him he's 4 months late, but he booked a hotel in Austin until Christmas. He's begging me to reconsider." Ryan forced the words out past the lump in his throat. "Do you want to reconsider?" Tears instantly welled up in Claire's eyes. "I honestly don't know. Ryan, the man, humiliated me. He left me standing at the altar in front of 200 guests. But we have 5 years of history, and part of me wonders if I walked away too fast." Ryan wanted to scream that she wasn't the one who quit. Derek was. But he swallowed the jealousy and said, "Take the time you need. I'm right here." Saying that felt like tearing his own heart out. Over the next week, Claire pulled away completely. She stopped coming to their Sunday park hangouts and turned cold at work. It didn't take long for Emma to notice. "Daddy, why doesn't Claire come over anymore? Did I do something bad?" Ryan crouched down to her level. "No, sweetie, you didn't do anything. Claire is just dealing with some complicated grown-up problems." "Big stuff." Emma frowned, thinking hard. "Is she scared? Like how I used to be scared of the dark?" Ryan nodded slowly. "Yeah, baby, I think she's terrified." Then Emma dropped a truth bomb with that 8-year-old clarity that always floored him. "Well, when I was scared, you didn't leave. You sat with me until the monsters went away. Maybe Claire just needs someone to stay." Ryan stared at her, realizing his daughter was a genius. He didn't waste a second. He drove straight to Claire's apartment and pounded on the door until she opened up. "Ryan, what are you doing here?" He stepped inside. "Derek is back, isn't he? And you're spiraling because the last person you trusted left you at the altar, and you're terrified I'll do the same. You think I'm going to run?" Claire's face crumbled into tears. How did you know that?" "Because I know you," Ryan said softly. "And I know what it's like to be paralyzed by the fear of losing someone you love. When I lost Amy, I spent 4 years convinced I could never open my heart again. The risk of that kind of pain was just too high." He reached out and grabbed her hands tight. "I can't promise I'll be here forever, Claire. Life is messy and nothing is guaranteed. But I promise to fight for this. I will show up. I will choose you every single day that I have breath in my lungs. And I am done being so afraid of what might go wrong that I ruin what could go right." Claire pulled him into a fierce kiss. "I choose you, Ryan. I choose us. I'm done giving Derek power over my future." Ryan held her close, exhaling a breath he didn't know he was holding. "So, how do we handle him?" Claire wiped her eyes. "I'm going to tell him I found a man who stays when things get hard, and I'm not foolish enough to trade that for a memory." The next morning, Claire sat across from Derek at a coffee shop and laid it out. "I'm in love with someone else. Someone who saw my scars and didn't flinch. He has a little girl who treats me like a princess, and for the first time I can actually see the family I've always dreamed of. I'm not going back to Dallas, and I'm not going back to you." Derek tried to interrupt, but Claire cut him off. "You made your choice at that church. You don't get a do-over. Goodbye, okay?" Potato seeds. Derek. She walked out the door, the weight of the last few months finally lifting off her shoulders. Fast forward to Christmas Eve dinner. Ryan's sister, Sophie, cornered him in the kitchen. "You're gonna put a ring on it, aren't you? It's written all over your face." Ryan grinned nervously. "Think it's too fast? We've only been official for 2 months. When you know, you know." Sophie shrugged. "Does Emma suspect anything?" Ryan laughed. "She's been asking when she can call Claire Mom for 3 weeks straight." Sophie chuckled. "Then stop overthinking it. Life is too short to wait for the perfect moment." Ryan set the stage for New Year's Eve. It felt right, starting a fresh year with a fresh chapter. He looped Emma in on the plan immediately. There was no way he was doing this without his partner in crime. After all, she was the one who started this whole fairy tale by calling Clare a princess 4 months ago. Emma was vibrating with secrets. She'd burst into giggles at random moments, and Ryan had to keep giving her the look. "Zip it, kiddo. It's a surprise. We have to hold it in until the big night." She'd nod solemnly, like a little soldier, and then crack up laughing 5 minutes later. Finally, New Year's Eve morning arrived. Ryan told Clare to dress up for a detour. When he parked in front of the corner cup, she gave him a confused look. "Our regular coffee spot? Really? This is the grand New Year's plan?" Ryan smiled. "Just trust the process, okay? This place is where it all started." He took her hand, and they walked in with Emma bouncing on her toes beside them. The manager shot them a knowing grin. Ryan had already phoned ahead to orchestrate every detail. They slid into the very booth where fate had intervened that September morning, back when Clare was nothing but tears and heartbreak. Reaching across the table to cradle her hands, Ryan's voice dropped low. 4 months back, you stormed through that door. My little girl called you a sad princess, but I never guessed my whole world was shifting right then." Clare's vision blurred instantly. She could feel the gravity of the moment settling over them, her intuition screaming that everything was about to pivot. "You arrived in Austin shattered," he continued softly, "sitting right here, staring at snapshots of a wedding that fell apart until Emma decided we needed to save you. And honestly, sweetheart, being your safe harbor is the greatest privilege of my life, second only to being her father." Right there amidst the coffee steam, Ryan dropped to one knee. "You taught me that hearts don't just heal, they expand. That loving you isn't a betrayal of Amy's memory, it's a tribute to her. It means choosing life again, choosing to let the light back in." Before he could even produce the ring box, Emma popped up like a jack-in-the-box, brandishing a poster board she'd stashed beneath the table. It was an explosion of glitter, stickers, and painstaking penmanship that spelled out the ultimate question. "Will you be my mom?" Clare stifled a sob behind her palms, happy tears flowing freely, while Emma beamed with a grin so wide it threatened to crack her face. Ryan finally revealed the velvet box. "Clare Donovan, will you marry me? Will you marry us? Be the mother, the wife, the anchor of this family we're building?" Clare was already nodding frantically before the words left his lips. "Yes," she choked out. "Oh God, 1,000 times yes. I love you too so much." Thunderous applause broke out around them. Turns out the entire caffeine-fueled crowd was in on the secret. Emma torpedoed into Clare's arms. "You're my real mom now, like forever and ever." Squeezing her tight, Clare whispered, "Forever and ever, baby. I promise." By the following May, they were exchanging vows in a lush garden sanctuary, surrounded by 75 of their nearest and dearest. Emma treated her flower girl duties with military precision, having rehearsed her aisle walk no less than 300 times that week. The ceremony felt cozy and profoundly intimate, with blooms of ivory draping every surface while fairy lights twinkled from the canopy above. And, as Clare made her entrance, she paused beside a small table holding Amy's portrait. Ryan's insistence honoring the woman who gave him the greatest gift of his existence. Standing at the altar, Ryan fought a losing battle against his own tears. When she finally reached him, she leaned in close. "I still can't believe this is my life. 4 months ago, I was weeping over a man who rejected me." Ryan squeezed her hand. "And now you're with a man who can't breathe without you. Funny how fate spins the wheel." Emma, notably, bypassed the bridesmaids to stand proudly at Ryan's flank. When the officiant offered the standard opening for objections or words, Emma shot her hand up like she was in history class. "Just for the record, I saw her first. I dubbed her a princess, and I wasn't wrong." The guests roared with laughter as Clare knelt to embrace the little matchmaker. "You were absolutely spot on, sweetie. And I'm the luckiest woman alive that you spotted me that afternoon." Ryan's vows didn't leave a dry eye in the house. "You wandered into my world exactly when I thought I'd lock the door for good. Emma named you royalty, and you've ruled our hearts since. I promise to wake up and choose you every single morning. Through the mess and the noise, I will choose us." Clare's voice trembled as she began hers. "You taught me that a tragic ending can be the prologue to a beautiful beginning. That a broken heart can guide you to your soulmate. That family isn't just biology, it's the people who show up and refuse to leave. I choose you, I choose Emma, and I choose this beautiful chaos we're building." Emma delivered a self-penned reading about how love acts thicker than blood, dissolving the assembly into puddles of tears. The reception was a blur of euphoric dancing and unbridled joy. For the first dance, they moved as a trio, Emma balancing on Ryan's shoes while Claire held them both tight. Ryan's mind drifted back. 4 months ago, he was just a widower scraping by. Now he was a husband again, raising a daughter blessed with the love of 2 mothers. A year post-wedding, the paperwork caught up to reality. Claire legally adopted Emma, changing her name to Mitchell Donovan. Tears streamed down Emma's face as the gavel banged. Now I've got 2 moms, one watching from the stars and one holding my hand. I really am the luckiest kid ever. Just a month later, they discovered Claire was expecting. Emma went absolutely stratospheric with excitement about her impending promotion to big sister. She immediately appointed herself project manager, dictating everything from nursery palettes to the specific library of bedtime tales she would recite to the baby. When their 2nd anniversary rolled around, they returned to the Corner Cup Café, honoring the tradition of breaking bread exactly where their story began. They arrived with Emma, now a poised 10-year-old, and their 2-year-old son Henry, a literal hurricane of energy wrapped in a toddler's frame. The family settled into their favorite booth, the atmosphere shifting slightly when a solitary figure drifted in and claimed a secluded table in the corner. She carried a heaviness about her, a silent devastation that mirrored the exact look Claire wore 2 years prior. Between glancing at her phone and furiously dabbing at her eyes, she was barely keeping it together. Emma clocked it instantly. "Dad, look, that lady. She's really hurting." Claire leaned in, whispering, "Should we help?" But Emma, shedding her 8-year-old shyness for 10-year-old courage, interjected, "Let me handle it. I think I need to talk to her." Ryan exchanged a glance with Claire, a silent agreement passing between them before they nodded. Emma approached the stranger's table with gentle determination. "Excuse me? You seem like you're going through it. Sometimes it helps just to talk to someone." Startled, the woman looked up, her guard dropping. "That's incredibly kind of you. It's just been a really brutal morning. My mom sat right there 2 years ago, feeling the exact same way," Emma shared softly. "Then she met my dad. Now we're a family and she's glowing. It gets better, I promise, even when it feels impossible." Tears spilled over, but a genuine smile broke through the pain as the woman replied, "Thank you. You have no idea how much I needed to hear that right now." "Anytime," Emma beamed. "I hope you get your fairy tale ending too." She returned to the booth, practically radiating pride. Claire wiped away a joyful tear, overwhelmed. "She is absolutely unreal. Since when did she get so wise?" Ryan squeezed her hand. "She learned from the best. She had 2 incredible mothers to teach her." He meant every word. Emma possessed Amy's gentle spirit and Claire's deep empathy, blending them into a young woman who couldn't walk past a broken heart without trying to fix it. Fast forward another 2 years, and their chaos had expanded to 4 children, with 12-year-old Emma leading the charge as the ultimate big sister to her 3 siblings. Yet, every single Saturday morning they returned to the Corner Cup Café, the sacred ground where their journey began. They refused to let the memory fade. It's amazing how a simple question from a child can completely rewrite the destiny of 3 souls. It all started when Emma spotted a stranger and cleared her throat, asking, "Daddy, why is the princess crying?" Instead of looking away or hushing her, Ryan taught his daughter that empathy isn't passive, that showing up for people is the most important thing we do. Back then, Claire was shattered, publicly humiliated, and isolated in a strange new city. But a single moment of grace from a grieving widower and his observant 8-year-old daughter flipped the script entirely. She learned that trust and love could bloom again. Ryan discovered his heart had the capacity to cherish Amy's memory while fully embracing a future with Claire. He realized moving on isn't about erasure. It's about honoring the past by fiercely choosing to keep living. And Emma? She learned that acknowledging someone's darkness and simply asking, "Are you okay?" holds the power to save a life. That wisdom became her compass, shaping her into the woman who would always pause for the stranger crying in the corner. You don't need grand gestures or perfect timing. You just need eyes to see the pain and the guts to reach out. You need to step in, even when it feels awkward. You need to teach your children that kindness outweighs minding your own business every single time. Claire entered that coffee shop weeping over a man who left her at the altar. She walked out with the future she couldn't have conjured in her wildest dreams. All because a child saw a princess in disguise and a father cared enough to ask why the fairy tale had gone wrong. Press subscribe if this story reminded you that love hides in the most mundane moments, that a simple coffee shop can host a miracle, that the broken soul across the room might just be your greatest blessing. Share this with someone who needs reminding that heartbreak isn't the final chapter. It's merely the messy middle before the glorious resolve. Thank you deeply for watching. Never forget that sometimes the lonely princess in the cafe only needs one person to witness her pain and care enough to stay.